in most heat waves in many of our past years, we have a lot more activity. We've spent a lot of time and effort over the last decade, 15 years, reducing load on individual transformers, and spreading that across to multiple different transformers, and sectionalizing our customers. But we also look at it on the impact of not only just what our customers are experiencing, but on the power supply side. So that huge heat wave that we had so early on in the season really sent the New England power market into sort of a frenzy on those 3 days. So at the peak times, we'll say North Attleborough, Massachusetts, we're peaking around 3 p.m., 3, 4, 5 p.m. In that range is where you're going to have that peak. So prices are at their maximum. Our phones were ringing off the hook from the ISO New England, which is we'll just say the area supervisor who looks at the entire grid and sees inflows and outflows, right? So in from generators and out to customers. And we were really teetering at the top of capacity. So calls that we were getting is saying, hey, if you guys can curtail load, please do so, which basically means if you have buildings that have some sort of lighting that you can turn off, or this is procedures that they have, and this is just operational procedure type stuff, because we were really hitting that limit in the region for capacity. There's always a buffer, but we were creeping into that buffer faster than they like to see. So they started to implement those procedures. What that also does is real-time pricing. So it's like the stock market. Demand is high, prices go up. And so if you go to isonewengland.com, you can actually see real-time pricing anytime you want, whether it's 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon on a peak day. Prices were hitting the equivalent of about $1.10 a kilowatt hour. So our retail rate is 15 cents a kilowatt hour, but we're buying it off the market now at $1 and change, right? Really, they advertise it as megawatt hours, right? So $1,000 a megawatt hour, just divide by 100, and you got your kilowatt hour. So I'm sorry, by 1,000, you got your kilowatt hour. So we were watching that very closely, and that's not necessarily indicative of this summer at large, but when prices tend to spike that high, you have other things that are influencing the system. Now you have the market looking at it saying, we got to make sure there's enough capacity out there. And don't get me wrong, there's enough capacity to meet demand. It's just making sure that capacity is available on those days. Yeah, they're predicting 95 to 100 degrees, as opposed to saying, well, it may not happen, it's probably going to happen. So plan for that.
So a customer watching this, he said 15 cents. They were paying $1.15. My rates going up right away?
Excellent question. So no, our rates haven't changed since 2018. And of course, we've talked about this in the past where at some point they will, but a direct impact from this is absorbed throughout the year, right? So this is a small spike. We have asset reserves, we have stabilization funds, we have lots of different things that we can do before any of these costs get passed on to the ratepayers. And from an event like we just had, it's so insignificant on the scale of the year. Now, if this were to happen every week for the next 12 weeks, it may require us to trigger internally tapping into reserve funds, but even at that point, it's not going to affect the ratepayer, our customers and residences and businesses on a day-to-day basis or at their next bill. So your bill shouldn't change. You may have just used more power because your air conditioning was on while you were cooking, while you were doing whatever you were doing. If you have a pool pumps are going, right? So those are spikes in your own usage at our rate.